Welcome, sinners, to the Cinamen podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Tyler.
And today's podcast is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, The Road to Civil War, Phase 2. Continuing from last week where we talked about Phase 1.
And then next week we'll end up doing our review of Civil War, which I haven't seen yet.
But I have.
I will be seeing that later today, probably right after we record this. Let us know what you think of it, sinners, because by then I'll have already seen it anyway.
Please make sure to rate, subscribe, share this any way possible.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, go to our website, leave some comments.
I created a Zanga, if anyone remembers that, and a MySpace.
Yeah, check out my Dark Starlings.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
But
it was awesome. It was great.
So Phase 2, overall, did you like Phase 2 better than Phase 1? I'm talking in general.
I've been doing some thinking, and overall, I definitely like Phase 2 better.
I think the same thing, but I'm also thinking maybe it's because, Marvel's playing it safe in Phase 1, and now that they laid the groundwork, they're able to do all this other incredible stuff, which, you amp up the action in anything, and I'm there. I'm an action guy.
Well, I think Phase 1 works better as just one cohesive piece. There's no necessarily bad movies in Phase 1. You got Thor 1, which
Thor's kind of like
wasn't great, but Phase 2 has a couple outliers that aren't necessarily better or worse, but they just don't fit as tightly. Like, you got Guardians, which is way
on the other side of the cosmos.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I guess you could say that Thor's kind of like that too. And then you got Ant-Man, which seemed to be a little bit of an outlier too. Like I said, not a bad movie, but I definitely think that Phase 2 has the better movies, and it definitely has the worst movie.
The absolute worst movie?
The absolute worst movie so far in the MCU.
I totally know what you're thinking right now. I'm going to say it. Is it Iron Man 3?
It's definitely Iron Man 3.
Oh, my God. Words can't describe how pissed off I was when I left the theater after seeing Iron Man 3.
It really did well for a while. Like, you're watching it, you're having a good time, can't wait to see the Mandarin, and then I think that's where they really let us down.
Yeah, the first half of the movie is good up until Ben Kingsley informs us that it's a joke. He's an actor.
I'm not, Iron Man's arch enemy. I'm an alcoholic puppet.
Yeah. I'm a front man.
Yeah.
I wanted to leave the theater at the midnight showing. I wanted to get up and leave, and I never wanted to do that.
Well, I didn't really think it was that bad until I rewatched it. Like, the first time I watched it, I was a little bit disappointed with the twist, but at the same time, I still thought it was pretty good. And then going back and rewatching it and kind of seeing some of the inconsistency and some of the weird plot devices, it just didn't seem as strong as I originally thought.
Right. I agree. The movie, it's got a ton of pros and tons of cons. Pro, Guy Pearce as a Marvel villain in a movie. Con, Guy Pearce as a Marvel villain in this movie.
Yeah.
Total waste of talent. And then he's like spitting lava. I was like, what? No, that is not.
We should have had the Mandarin be the heavy hitter of the movie. Should have been the real Mandarin, not the alcoholic.
Yeah, the comic book
and Guy
source
Pearce,
material Mandarin.
And Guy Pearce kind of just helping him along. His little trusty lackey.
Guy Pearce should have been the sub-boss, and then Mandarin be your final Ganondorf.
Directed by Shane Black. Also directed Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which I love. I think
also with Robert Downey Jr.?
Also with Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
And I think that was an amazing movie.
I've not seen it.
It's just a fun kind of detective movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'll have to check it out. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
He also directed Nice Guys, which is coming out pretty soon.
Right. Starring Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Making movies, making music, and fighting around the world.
Nice.
Russell Crowe.
I like it.
Also,
Superman's dad. Just throwing that one out there.
Okay. So sorry, Iron Man 3. We're putting you at the very bottom of the list.
I was upset that they laid groundwork in Iron Man 1 with the terrorists being part of the Ten Rings, right?
Yeah.
Which is the Mandarin's thing. They
so
build
the
all up to it, and then basically the terrorists are working for this fake guy, or
So the terrorists in Iron Man 1 were part of the Ten Rings.
Yes.
Because you see the symbolism in Iron Man 3. You see, not necessarily symbolism, but the symbol.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When he's about to take over the TV screens or whatever, it comes up.
Yep. They are part of the Ten Rings, which is Mandarin's thing, right?
Yes.
And then just led up to all of it. To me, it just felt like it wasn't worth it. And Guy Pearce is spitting lava, and
It really worked in a sense of like the suits. The suits were amazing.
At the very end?
Yeah.
All the suits? That was the best part. Did you like Iron Man's suit? His prime suit in that one?
It was fine. I liked when he started switching suits better.
I thought that
I
was
like the
cool.
concept of him jumping out of one suit into another suit.
Yeah.
Like, I wish he wouldn't have destroyed the suit so we could see a little bit more of that.
I actually didn't like his main suit in that one.
It
I
was
liked
a
a little
little
more gold. I
lackluster.
thought it was too much gold. And then he's in this workshop with this kid, and he was able to fix his...
The kid from Jurassic
Yes,
Park.
the kid from Jurassic Park. Well,
Or Jurassic World, rather.
He's like, yeah, I got to meet Tony Stark. And then he's like, oh, shit, I almost got to eat my dinosaurs.
And then he gets to go meet Star-Lord and almost get eaten by dinosaurs. Chris Pratt.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, it took me a minute there.
If you had to rate it, what would you give it?
Iron Man 3
Iron Man 3.
out of 10. God. Probably not all that low. Maybe like 6.5, 7.
I'm going to give it a 6.5. And the suits is the only reason it gets that high of a rating.
Yeah. I liked Tony Stark's character, right? Robert Downey Jr. was spot on. I can't argue with that.
It was a little odd to have him having those panic attacks, though, for someone who's so confident all the time.
Yeah.
Someone who's been through a lot of trauma already. Why was that so much worse?
Yeah, someone who...
You've flown into space before. All you did was carry a missile through a portal and then fall back out. Yeah, definitely scary, but you're Iron Man. Get over it.
You were in a Humvee, blown up, shrapnel in your heart.
Technically,
about to
he was in
die.
the Fun V.
That's right. He was in the Fun V.
He was in the Fun V.
He was
Not
in
the
the
humdrum V.
Yeah, I guess you like what you said. So much trauma already, and all of a sudden he's like, I can't sleep. I'm having nightmares and
Oh, no.
all this.
You're talking about stuff, and now I'm a puddle on the ground. But suddenly I can take on, all these bad guys with all these different suits without having a panic attack. What did you just, take some Xanax and just get over it?
Revisit the bottle from number 2, bud.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go.
It is weird that they haven't touched on Tony Stark's alcoholism all that much.
Probably because Disney owns it now.
Yeah, in the second movie, he got a little wasted at his birthday party or
Yeah.
whatever. But
And that's sad, too, because that's some of the best stuff in the comics.
and you think if anyone can play an alcoholic, it's Robert Downey Jr.
Dude, yeah.
I mean, he's lived it.
Lived it, breathed it, touched it. I did like when Pepper Potts escaped in the suit. That's kind of like a little homage to, in the comics, her getting a suit and becoming Rescue.
I would love to
Another-
see
a
her
female
get her
Iron
own
Man-like
suit
figure.
and actually fight alongside Tony.
That'd be cool. If they ever do an Iron Man 4, I'm sure they will.
You think they will? I would let that die. I would let Iron Man die and just let him be involved because he's already in Civil War.
Yeah.
He's going to be in Avengers.
He's had a lot of
well,
face time.
I don't know what happens to him in Civil War. Don't tell me yet,
I think Disney and Marvel think we all want that.
What?
An Iron Man 4. But I can
don't.
say that I'm one of the guys that'd be fine without one.
I like seeing
He's
the
already
new
got 2 more
superheroes.
Avengers movies coming out. He is the face of this, right? He's what started it all. He's like, renegotiated his contract how many times? Keep saying, oh, this is my last one. Oh, wait, I got these other 2 movies. And I love it. That's awesome. I can't hate Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark.
But just bring him back in association with the other heroes. He doesn't need to be the spotlight anymore.
Yeah.
He could just be, he could just share the spotlight with all the rest of the Avengers.
They don't need to make an Iron Man 4 because they should. If they're going to make it, it needs to be something that's going to fit cohesively with what they're doing.
There has to be a reason.
Yeah, give it a reason to be made.
Let's move on to your favorite movie.
Yeah, let's polar opposites here. Favorite movie from Phase 2. Man, I think I'm just going to have to say either Age of Ultron, even though it had its problems. I'm just a big fan of ensemble films.
Yeah.
Like, I love ensemble films. And Joss Whedon just managed to capture that right essence for me.
Well, arguably, Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh, yeah, see. That
is an ensemble film, and that's definitely my favorite. That is my favorite out of the whole MCU.
It's
top of the charts.
It's towards the top for me.
If I could give it
can't- I can't
11 out
argue
of
with
10,
that.
I would.
It's just I'm not as familiar with the characters, Give me a second film where I can start to fall in love with the franchise.
Maybe that's where it shines for me, is that I'm not familiar. I like something new, right?
Yeah, that's
So I
true.
go into Guardians of the Galaxy. I've seen the previews. I'm extremely excited.
So you were pumped upon seeing the previews. Because
Yes.
I saw commercials and I thought this is going to be fucking dumb.
I thought that all the ingredients led to it being dumb, right? Like, I thought it should be dumb. You got a raccoon, a tree, Chris Pratt as a sci-fi hero,
As like a sci-fi Indiana Jones.
a green chick, and what was he, a pro wrestler?
Yeah.
And I was like, it looks super interesting to me, though. Like, somehow the trailer convinced me that all these weird ingredients were going to make an amazing presentation. And I wasn't disappointed. I was actually more scared that my expectations were too high.
Really?
I went into the theater and thought, hopefully I'm not disappointed because I am super excited. I told everyone about it. I showed 1 million people the trailer. And I left the theater being blown away from the very start. You see him dancing across the cave.
Right.
To go take the orb. And I got goosebumps. I was sitting in the theater like,
And
I'm about to go on the best
on
ride.
it. Yeah. I sat there, and that music turned on. And I'm going into this I wanted to, I was like, this movie's going to suck. But everyone on the planet keeps telling me how awesome this movie is. I waited, I didn't even go see it in theaters. I waited till it came out on DVD because I was so...
Oh, you totally missed out. It was amazing in theaters.
And we were sitting there in the living room, and the music comes on, and I was automatically like, okay, I was wrong.
I'm in.
I'm 5 minutes into this movie, and I know I was wrong already.
Yeah.
Fuck. It completely blew my mind. Like you said, all these weird ingredients made the perfect cake. And the soundtrack, every song in that is awesome.
The one part that I really didn't like was the after credits scene. Howard the Duck.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
That gave us nothing. I mean, that was right before Age of Ultron, right?
Yes.
So shouldn't you have done some kind of alluding to Age of Ultron? Let us know what we're in for.
Well, they had the Thanos.
Oh yeah, Thanos for sure.
I mean, and he actually had lines in this movie. I mean, he was a character instead of just like a face seeing sideways in like an Avengers. And plus, they got with Infinity Stones, so this one moved the plot forward
a lot.
After Captain America, Winter Soldier didn't really do it. Iron Man 3 didn't really do it. I guess Thor 2 kind of moved. Yeah, Thor 2 moves it forward because he got Infinity
Winter
Stone.
Soldier did because Winter Soldier comes back in Civil War.
No. I'm talking the standalone Winter Soldier movie didn't have anything to do with the overall Thanos plot line.
Oh,
it was just like solo Cap on Earth adventure. Iron Man 3 was just Iron Man 3 adventure down here. And so we finally had something else. We're moving along. We got one Infinity Stone out of the way with Thor 2. Guardians hits up another one. And we actually get to see Thanos.
Yeah, it was definitely the most.
And I didn't know he was going to be in the movie. He showed up on screen, and I was just like, oh my God. We're going to talk about Ronan here.
See, I kind of like Ronan a little bit.
I like his look. I like everything he was made out to be.
Maybe that's it. Maybe I just see him, and his presence is just so good that I overlook the lack of importance in the actual movie.
Hey, Hitler looked like an idiot, but he got shit done. Ronan looked fucking awesome and didn't do a damn thing. Okay?
Yeah, but he's more of a delegator. Like he's the boss that sits back and lets other people do his work for him.
He can't be Thanos if there's already a Thanos. He is the hired help. He's not hiring help.
Well, he's
the coolest thing he did.
What do you call that?
Was when he spun that guy's neck around with this thing.
He's a contract. You hire Ronan, and Ronan hires other people. As long as Ronan gets the job done, Thanos doesn't care how it gets done. So Ronan just puts it off to his lackeys,
Yeah, but he made it out to be all this big and bad dude. He had one tiny scuffle with Drax, threw him around like a rag doll, and you're like, okay, so this guy can obviously fight. And then later on, after the whole awesome airship battle, right, the war and the Nova Corps building the wall, which
that was amazing,
arguably one of the coolest scenes in the movie. And then Ronan comes to Earth, and you know what he did? He was monologuing. The number one mistake every villain makes sitting there, when they could have got the job done if he just smashed this hammer on the ground better than Thor ever could.
So he was one hammer swing away from winning.
He would have destroyed him.
And then he got distracted by Chris Pratt dancing.
Yeah.
But do you think you could have resisted that?
Hold on. He got distracted by a guy dancing. What does that say, Ronan? What does that
say?
But
he wasn't intrigued. He was
Zoe
confused.
Saldana, I guess she's the hired help. Never mind.
Yeah.
Well, to me, if Zoe Saldana is dancing over here, I'm going to be like, hey, what's up?
A lot of backstabbing in that movie.
Yeah.
Ronan backstabbing Thanos.
When Thanos was like, my favorite daughter, Gamora, I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Feel that, Nebula?
Take that, Baldy. And then she still sticks by him. No. She sticks by Ronan at that point. Or did she? Was she already? Because Ronan decides that he's going to kill Thanos. And Nebula's like, but that's my dad. But then she doesn't like...
What if she's like, this is one war you won't win or something like that? Oh, he just when he got the Infinity Stone, he wanted to kill
Yeah.
Thanos. That's right. Yeah.
It's like, I'm coming for you, Thanos.
Well, I don't know if she's like, oh, so I'm just your silver medal, huh, Dad? Okay, go ahead, Ronan. Hey, as long as I get a place by your side,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep fixing my little wiring in my blue arm I can't seem to fix.
Yeah.
And hey, I'm yours. Kill Gamora, kill my dad. I don't care.
Yeah, and then Gamora backstabbing Thanos and Ronan.
Yeah.
And you got Peter Quill backstabbing, what's his name?
The Ravagers.
The Ravagers. And then you got the Ravagers back.
Yondu and the Ravagers.
Yeah, then they're backstabbing. You know, Yondu was actually an Avenger in the original comics.
You mean a Guardian?
What did I say?
Avenger. Yeah, he was a Guardian.
He was a Guardian.
Galaxy, yeah.
Yeah, but he had like a bigger mohawk and
Yeah.
like a big flashy, flappy mohawk.
See, once they announced this movie, I'm kind of looking through some, online and different comic stuff, and I'm like, okay, this dude with a big, awesome red mohawk. And the movie was just short, and I was kind of like, oh man, that takes away the appeal. Like, I wanted at least like some Liberty spikes or something,
I thought the look was good.
I liked it. I'm just saying, could have been a better mohawk. James Gunn, take notes.
James Gunn, you keep being James Gunn. You gave us Slither, Super was okay.
Super was all right.
Yeah, I believe he was a writer on Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2, the live-action movies.
That's awesome.
Which I thought were pretty good. Maybe next time leave Scrappy out because...
Or don't make him the villain in the first movie.
How are you going to make a Scooby-Doo movie and put the worst character from Scooby-Doo as like a main role?
I almost think they should have switched the plot lines.
For Scooby-Doo?
Maybe not the entire plot, but like Scrappy should not have been the villain in the first one, and maybe should have been the villain in the second one because he would have had access to all the suits and stuff.
How about we wait till Scrappy's asleep and then maybe run over him?
How about Scooby just put him in his fucking place?
Yeah, Scooby's
Instead
a
of
lot bigger.
that puppy power, Scooby should be like and like rip him in half. But yeah, enough about Scooby-Doo.
Ruh-roh.
Ruh-oh, Reggie.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were we talking about?
Guardians.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
James Gunn. Slither, an amazing movie.
Right. Now, what would you give Guardians out of 10?
If I could, I'd give it an 11, but if I'm playing by the rules, I guess 10.
10?
I think it was almost flawless.
I'd give it an 8.5, 9 out of 10.
Ooh, that's so low. It deserves much better.
All right, fine, 10 out of 10.
No, give it...
Because it did have the perfect blend of comedy, action. I'm willing to look past Marvel's villain problem now because it's obviously an ongoing issue. So I can't just keep hating movies because of their villain issue. And then...
But I guess the more prominent villains who get the more screen time, you got your Loki, Thanos... I mean, they're going to get better. They're going to build and build.
Because they get more screen time? Like you're saying, I'm going to have...
You get more of an emotional connection
Right.
to them. You kind of see what's going on with them. They obviously are having better luck. Loki keeps getting shot down, but he keeps trying.
I admire his courage. He's like, damn it, I'm going to win this.
Yeah.
Hulk made me look like a bitch. Thor has continuously made me look like a bitch. But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to find a way. And speaking of Loki, at the end of Thor 2, he now holds the throne, disguised as Odin.
And
What do you think of Thor 2?
I thought Thor 2 was better than Thor 1.
So did I.
I'd barely give it a bump in my rating, though.
What would you rate it? I guess.
I'd give Thor 1 a 7, and I'd give Thor 2 a 7.5.
Yeah, I guess I could agree with that.
I enjoyed it, and I think if I watch it again, I'll definitely enjoy it a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's going to grow on me. I definitely like it.
I liked Thor 2 because we got to see Asgard in full, even though it kind of appeared a little Game of Thrones-ish at times.
Well, the director directed parts of Game of Thrones.
Right, that Alan Taylor, he directed episodes of Game of Thrones. So I can't blame him for that.
He also directed that Terminator Genesis.
Oh, yeah, God. That was hard to watch.
I actually haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on that. But
If you want to, man, but...
So you think Thor was better than Genesis?
I think Thor 2 is better than Genesis, yes. And I'm a big Terminator fan.
They do weird things when they pick these weird directors, like out of nowhere.
Well, you choose him like, oh, he handled the franchise and he made it awesome. We're doing a franchise. Let's get it.
But Kiss Kiss Bang Bang to Iron Man 3, Nice Guys, Iron Man, those don't even like...
True.
Okay, then you got Slither and Super Maybe. Guardians of the Galaxy was amazing, so I definitely give him credit for finding him.
Look at the Russo brothers. They
Russo-
did You, Me, and Dupree.
You, Me, and Dupree.
And what, maybe one other film?
Did you like You, Me, and Dupree?
I remember watching it one time and I thought it was okay. I like Owen Wilson.
I was way younger when it came out, and I kind of thought it was a little bit funny.
But I remember when they got announced. I remember me and my brother were like, "What? Are you serious? You're going to give Captain America to these guys?" And then obviously they went and blew our minds away.
So we're not criticizing you, Marvel. We're just confused. Because you're obviously making the right decision with some of these directors.
I'm saying you know how to pick them.
Yeah.
Whenever I fear doubt in Marvel, they turn around and just completely redeem themselves. So far.
Yeah.
But will the formula get stale? Sinners, what do you think? Leave a comment. Tell them if you think this superhero formula will get stale. Do you think superhero movies will go out of style?
Apparently Spielberg thinks they're going to go the way of the Western. And like he's quoted as saying superhero movies will go the way of the Western.
Right, yeah.
So few and far between.
Which is sad because I would love to see Spielberg do a superhero movie.
I don't think they're going away anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. Do I think they'll go away? Or maybe.
I don't.
You don't think they'll ever go away?
I almost think it's its own genre now. I mean, it's obviously action. It's obviously got elements of comedy.
Elements of romance. And as each stranger character that appears on screen, we're diving into that many more genres. Doctor Strange, dude.
So, if anything, it's probably going to get more prominent. I'd like to see more original superheroes.
I would too.
Like, something that doesn't have a comic or a cartoon or a TV show.
But,
just kind of throw out a random superhero.
Since superheroes started coming out, man, the independent movie business it's hard to get into. Because superhero movies, every studio wants to space their movie far enough from another movie that's going to tank it under, right? So now any movie, basically, you come out, you're receiving either the beginning of one movie coming out that just tanks your movie, or you're at the receiving end of a movie that's just going out of theaters and also is tanking your movie. Smaller films are getting hard to make, man.
Let me throw this one at you. Chronicle. It's not advertised as a superhero movie,
But it is.
but he's a superhero.
He is a superhero. And that's an awesome movie.
And I really wish that they would make more of those.
I agree. Not just Chronicles. We're talking original superhero films.
I'm talking Chronicle.
I would see more Chronicles.
If Chronicle was a trilogy, I would be extremely excited.
The Chronicle trilogy. Chronicles of...
Definitely my favorite. Chronicle. Definitely my favorite found footage movie,
Right.
hands down.
And
So
two of those guys ended up being in other superhero movies.
they did.
The bad guy was in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Uh-huh.
And Michael B. Jordan was in Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four.
The
I
remake.
I didn't see it.
Don't.
Okay. I will not. I don't like Fantastic Four anyway. I think they have the worst powers. I mean, Human Torch is arguably cool. What's her name that can turn invisible?
Yeah.
It's like we've seen it. And then, I can stretch. You're the leader, and all you can do is stretch.
Sadly, The Incredibles is like a rehashing of the Fantastic Four, and everyone likes them better.
Well, it's because it is better.
Yeah.
It's
I
way better.
agree.
So what was your favorite movie?
In Phase 2,
Yeah.
Avengers. Age of Ultron.
Avengers. You want to get into Avengers then?
I want to dive deep into Avengers.
Because that has one of my favorite, not my favorite, but one of my favorite characters so far. Vision.
Vision was awesome.
I really liked Vision.
When
I said last episode, I was really drunk the first time I saw it, and none of it really made any sense.
right.
Like, I couldn't follow the story at all. And I was like, Avengers 1 was so good. How did this happen? And then I saw Avengers 2 while I was sober, and I loved it.
Yeah, Vision was an awesome addition. I liked Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, even though Quicksilver I don't think should have died in this film. I'm not saying Scarlet Witch should have died.
I think they both should have lived.
Yeah.
Because they both would have been fun in Civil War.
Oh my God, yeah. Like,
Because then you could have, in my opinion, you could have taken Hawkeye, put it back on Black Widow's team, and then put Vision and Quicksilver on the same team. I don't think they could face each other because Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, I think, would annihilate Black Widow
oh yeah,
and Hawkeye.
yeah,
You put Hawkeye up against Quicksilver, and he shoots an arrow, and then Quicksilver's just going to catch it.
yeah. As we saw in Age of Ultron.
And then, Black Widow can pull all kinds of crazy tricks, but Scarlet Witch is just going to mind rape her and put her back in her place. So maybe you should put one of each on each
Right.
team, but that doesn't seem like it would work either.
Age of Ultron, in some ways, just seemed to please a lot of fanboys. In fact, that we got the Hulkbuster armor,
Okay.
which was awesome.
Definitely.
the best scene in the movie by
Now I want to
far.
see the Thor Buster.
Yeah,
See what that
Thor
can
Buster. I
do.
want to see some more crazy ass suits. God, it was just. It took everything that I wanted it to be and made it better. The fact that he was in his suit, inside the suit to control it, I was like, that's a cool detail. I guess I never thought of that. You know,
Yeah.
like thinking, oh man, just gets in the suit. But that was just a cool detail.
Makes me wonder why he doesn't have more like large suits like that.
Yeah,
It seems like he did a really good job in that big suit.
yeah.
Maybe it's just less mobile. Maybe it takes more energy. I guess there's probably some.
Oh, I'm sure it's got to take some
reason.
crazy energy. Power at 400%.
Yeah.
But with the addition, I liked War Machine, getting some good time in there, right? Doing some damage.
War Machine's cool.
I wish we had seen some more of Falcon.
Yeah.
He was
He wasn't in Avengers really at all, was he?
No, he's just in the dinner scenes, really.
He's so awesome. I think he's cooler than War Machine. I
think
love
that-
the metallic wings. I just think that's super awesome.
I like that. I think War Machine has an awesome look. You know, he's like this badass, bulky with the red eyes.
But Falcon's more exposed, you know? It's
agree.
more risky.
Yeah.
I like the
I like them both.
riskiness.
I wish they both would be in more movies. Like, I wish we could see them more often. I hope in Infinity Wars,
They're both in Civil War, right?
yes.
Do they face off against each other?
I'm not telling you.
Oh.
I'm not telling you.
Ooh. I can't wait to see it.
But they both deserve more time than what they're getting. Now, when it comes to Scarlet Witch giving them messing with their minds, okay? Mm-hmm. Tony Stark sees a possible future, right? The Avengers are dead. Earth is under attack.
Okay.
They're blaming him.
Yeah.
Captain America sees what could have been the past, right? That dance with Peggy Carter.
Oh.
What he didn't get to
That makes me so sad.
have. Yeah, God, I know. It's like the greatest love story that never happened.
I wish he could have like went and had that dance and then crashed.
Wish he could have got his nut and then just got out of there.
Got in, out, to the future, to the Avengers.
Yeah, like they did it, and then his plane. He went to war. Plane crashed in ice. Wakes up.
Do you know anything about the Time Stone? Like, I wonder if he could like go back in time
Envisioned.
and see her. No, Vision doesn't have the Time Stone.
Oh, you're talking about
The one we haven't seen.
right, one of the ones we haven't seen.
Does it? Can you manipulate time? Could he go back and
I don't
see
know,
her?
man. I imagine there's theories out there that talk about, because in comics people die and come back all the time. They go back in time, maybe reset some stuff. We'd get to see characters that are dead
Come back to life.
back. I doubt they
Looking
go
at
this
you,
way
Quicksilver.
because trying to get an actor to go along with that and then like lining up schedules and stuff, that's hard work.
But it would pay off. It would be super cool.
It would pay off. But before I dive into that, now Thor's vision, and this setting him up for Ragnarok with Heimdall being all weird in his eyes and whatnot.
Heimdall's the gatekeeper, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you don't know what the Hulk saw. Now, rumors suggest that he thought he was fighting Abomination. And I had heard that Joss Whedon wanted to use Abomination.
Can Bruce Banner remember things that the Hulk was thinking?
The big guy spit it out. He had to know that. Unless he just assumed.
Well, I mean, he didn't. It could have been just like an expression because he just knows he didn't die, right?
Yeah.
So
I would imagine he can remember at least some stuff. Fragments, maybe.
yeah.
Um,
So maybe we don't know because he doesn't even.
I'm just
know.
saying, these rumors.
Yeah.
But I think that would have been an awesome... I wish we could have seen it from his point of view as to what... Even, like, glimpses. Maybe he's just seen, like, the back of Abomination's head or, like, something.
Maybe he's not seeing anything. Maybe he's just
Like, raging.
not caring. Maybe he just lost control. You know how he used to not have
It
control.
doesn't say what exactly she did. Mm-hmm. She just said she wants the big one or whatever.
Yeah.
Giggity.
Do we get to see anyone else's vision? I don't remember.
No. I like Baron von Strucker as kind of the little sub boss.
Which one was that
The
again?
monocle.
Okay.
Cap put him on his ass. And then Ultron sadly fell victim to the Marvel villain problem.
I thought Ultron was
Made
cool.
out to be this awesome, scary dude. And
He was.
He surfed the internet for 5 minutes and decided everyone needed to die. And he was just a cynical asshole.
What if he's
And I
right?
just wasn't.
What if the only way to achieve peace is to get rid of humans and let animals have their planet back?
Hey, you saw Kingsman?
Yeah.
Either way, the virus dies. We're the virus.
Yeah.
For those of you that haven't seen Kingsman, go watch it.
Yeah, it's an amazing.
It's awesome.
There's a second one coming out, right?
Yes.
Well, watch out for our Kingsman 2 episode. I like how the Avengers get to trust Vision. Because, I mean, obviously, you see what happens to Ultron, and then you got to wonder if Vision's going to go the same way. Because it's just
that's that's what they were worried about.
Yeah, and then he picks up Thor's hammer, and Thor's just like, all right, guys, let's do it. Like, he immediately trusts Vision as soon as he picks up that hammer because he's worthy. Now, what does worthy mean to Odin? Because Odin was the one who deemed Thor's hammer only able to be picked up by who's worthy. So what's worthy to Odin, a god, may not mean the same as worthy to a human.
Right.
Right? Because Odin's obviously going to put more importance on his people than humans.
But Vision isn't a god or human. Vision is a sentient being, an AI.
But the hammer deemed Vision worthy.
Right.
So it deems Vision worthy in Odin's eyes, not humanity's eyes. So Thor was able to trust him right away.
It's funny. I read an interview today about Vision and what he does in Civil War. So once you see Civil War, you're gonna think about that question.
Okay.
Foreshadowing. What up? But Vision looked awesome. Paul Bettany was totally awesome as Vision. Honestly, it was better than anything I could have thought they would have made Vision out to be.
Was he still the voice actor of Jarvis?
Yeah.
The whole time? I think that's the first time he ever actually got to see Robert Downey Jr. Because I think he recorded all of Jarvis's lines at home or in a studio somewhere.
Right.
So he never actually came in contact. Like, they would film, get all of Robert Downey Jr.'s lines, and then give him the script, and he would deliver Jarvis's lines.
Right. Maybe like see footage or whatever, and then like insert the line.
So this whole time he's just sitting back in his cushy studio delivering these lines. Now he gets to do hours of makeup.
Oh, I heard he, minutes before Joss Whedon gave him the call and asked him to be Vision, he just left a producer's office in Hollywood, and the producer told him he'd never work in Hollywood again.
Why?
It beats me. I mean, you haven't seen him in a lot of movies lately?
What else has he been in?
Lately?
No, ever.
Knight's Tale with Heath Ledger.
Okay.
He was in Da Vinci Code.
Okay.
Wimbledon with Kirsten Dunst. He's in a lot of stuff.
Well,
And it's funny, just minutes after that horrible news, he gets the chance to be a Marvel hero.
not just a hero, an Avenger.
He gets upgraded, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you went from voice. You wait to see your face now.
Yeah.
And it looked awesome. I like that he was like smooth. It was graceful. Like when he like flips and just like stops at the window. No, like
Jerky.
no jerky
momentum.
stuff, but momentum building. Like he just stops, and I was like, that is awesome.
Well, he's going to have to die.
Yeah. I mean, if Thanos is to get all 6 of these Infinity Stones,
He needs to get that Mind Stone.
right. I was actually thinking about that. He's going to end up like tearing that out of his head.
He has to die. Oh, I guess he doesn't have to die. I really don't know the rules of Vision,
Right.
but
Overall, interesting, cool character to add to the film. I really enjoyed it. Probably one of the highlights of the movie.
definitely.
And then Joss Whedon again pulls one of those, like the intro scene where they're like moving around and it's going person to person, and then it comes profile as they like all jump over that like barrier thing.
Is it weird that I thought that was one of the weakest scenes of the whole movie?
The beginning?
It doesn't grab me. It didn't grab me in the theater, and that was before I was drunk.
No, that was one of the coolest things. That
And then I
intro
watched-
part.
But it just seemed like it didn't have as much, I guess, weight as the first Avengers. Like why are they fighting together again? Sorry.
Because they're taking on a Hydra base.
Yeah, but it doesn't really lead you into that. They kind of just drop you into the action, which I guess is cool. I don't know. For some reason, it didn't grab me. But then, the rest of the movie definitely reels me in.
Right.
So I guess it was just a weak start to the movie, I thought. What do you think, Sinners?
Now that I'm thinking about it, it's interesting that all the way in Sokovia, they had one of those big-ass flying alien ships, which was in New York, and no one saw anyone take one of those things and fly it over to Sokovia. Kind of weird, huh?
Maybe it left during the battle.
That
when everyone was distracted,
one
it was like,
oh, hell no.
I'm outta here, guys.
Fuck, I saw that the Iron Man dude could do.
Yeah.
Fly all the way over.
No, thank you.
Yeah, forget
Hulk's
that.
jumping around everywhere, and there's a god, a monster,
He's like, that big
robot.
that big green guy destroyed like 3 of my brothers. I'm out of here.
A really patriotic, strong guy with a shield. Doesn't sound scary, but
a dorky looking helmet. Now, what do you think about Ant-Man?
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about Ant-Man.
I liked Ant-Man.
If I had to give it a rating, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. So I really did like it. There were some parts of the acting that I wasn't really a fan of.
Like, anyone specific or just overall?
Paul Rudd, who I love.
I love
really,
Paul Rudd.
really love Paul Rudd. Local superstar. We're from Kansas City, if you didn't know. And
Sometimes it's a little hard to
we're
buy
all
him
proud
as
of
being
you.
serious.
We're all proud of you, Paul Rudd. I didn't know you
yeah.
personally, but I feel like I know you.
I feel like if I met you at a bar, you'd be like an awesome guy to talk to.
I've heard that he's really nice.
Yeah, he's a pretty friendly guy.
So, take this for what it is. This isn't me bagging on Paul Rudd. This is me just saying, I think some of Paul Rudd's lines and the love interest of this movie, what was her name?
Hope Van Dyne.
Yeah, I think there was just some...
She is so fine. She is so sexy.
There were some lines between them that seemed a little bit cheesy, and it just seemed like it wasn't delivered perfectly. Now, I'm not a professional actor, so, their worst is probably better than my best.
It's hard to take Paul Rudd serious sometimes. And I think going into that, you're like, okay, he's a superhero now. I just got to face it. I just have to deal with it. And as comedy-driven as it may be, I can agree that, yeah, some of the lines were a little, maybe forced, maybe not delivered well. Either way.
That being said, I did love the movie. I liked the action a lot, the way they utilized the growing and shrinking of the suit.
Yeah. Like diving through keyholes, going, water drains, how the ants could form structures and all that stuff. I really did not want to see this movie.
Well,
and then one of those, like, I have hated Ant-Man forever. And it just blew my mind.
one of the weird things about Ant-Man is the reason that I actually got interested in it was the science behind it, the PIM particle. It's actually based somewhat in reality. I don't think it can be done yet. But the theory is that when you make I think I could be butchering this, so any scientists out there,
Right.
just let me know what I got wrong. But I believe
Nicely.
you make the electrons more dense, and it closes the gap in the space between the electrons and the neutrons. So basically, it's the same mass, or maybe it's even more. I don't know if it's heavier or the same weight, but you condense that down into a smaller size. You eliminate all the space in between the particles, so it's the same amount of stuff with just less empty space.
Right.
That's what makes him so much like a bullet, because he's just a tiny, heavy, fast-moving
Ball of energy.
yeah. And then what kind of bugs me is they did mess up some of the
Yeah.
science, because when the ants become bigger, they should weigh the same or theoretically less than they do in their tiny size.
Right. So they should have been floating off like balloons.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's a movie, so I'm going to overlook it and say that doesn't really affect my rating at all, because
Right.
I
It's a
still think
superhero
it's a great
universe.
movie. Yeah. Anything's possible.
I like that we got to see Iron Man's dad. Like, I like how they keep bringing him back, showing how this stuff is like all, like, he was involved in this, and he's involved in that, and he had his hands in this, and just little details like that. I like that they keep these characters alive. And
They're doing a really good job of the interconnectivity of all the movies.
And he talked about the Avengers, and he's like, oh, they're too busy dropping cities. And I was like, oh, shit, mic drop, Hank Pym for the win.
Now, let's get into what I know we disagree about in Ant-Man, and that's Edgar Wright.
Oh, God.
I'm definitely happy Edgar Wright did not direct this movie.
So am I.
I think we're happy for different reasons, though, because I'm definitely happy because I didn't want this mark on his record, because this wasn't an Edgar Wright movie. This was a Marvel movie, which Marvel movies are amazing, but Edgar Wright movies are something special. There's just a certain spot in my heart that just goes out to Edgar Wright movies.
I believe all the way back since like 2006, 2007, something like that, he was announced as the director for this. And Marvel waited so long for this guy to get his ducks in a row. And they're like, all right, we're ready to do it. Let's take another look at your script. Ooh, let's change a few things. The times have changed. Let's upgrade it a little bit. And Edgar Wright threw a little hissy fit because he had to play along with others.
Do you know that he threw a hissy fit,
I
or
think
just
he threw a
didn't
hissy
want
fit.
a mark on his record?
They left on creative differences, quote unquote, which basically is Hollywood saying, we didn't get along.
why do we got to put so much sassiness to it? You know, maybe he just didn't want his name on something. Like, I think if you're going to be what I consider one of the best directors, I know you disagree, I don't think you want to put out some garbage. And I don't think Ant-Man was garbage. But I think if he didn't have to keep it in line with the MCU, if Ant-Man was a standalone film and Edgar Wright was given complete control, I think it would have been way better than what we got.
I think you could have made an awesome film. I just think, you're writing this film to fit into a cinematic universe. You're going to have to...
But he wasn't writing it for that in the beginning.
No. But as he stayed on throughout these years, after Iron Man, after Avengers came out and you're still attached, you got to know, all right, they're probably planning to shoehorn into this universe. I got to be... If I want to do this, I got to be able to play along with others.
But he didn't want to do it.
Joss Whedon had to play along with others.
And he made some great films.
Exactly. And Edgar Wright says... Oh, I didn't want to do that. They wanted to take my stuff and do whatever. He was bitching and whining like Quentin Tarantino on his films. And then he pieced out.
But Quentin Tarantino is one of the best. He is one of the greatest.
Right.
If
I'm just
not
saying,
the greatest of all
bitching
time.
about how your movie got made. But he went so far as to cast the Ant-Man and then be like, psych, I'm out. I got better stuff, arguably better stuff, that I'm going to go work on.
What do you think, Cinamen? Do you agree with me, the right answer, that, this movie was good, didn't need Edgar Wright, and Edgar Wright will continue to make quality films that everybody will enjoy because he's a genius? Or do you agree with Chris, who's just being a big baby about the whole event? Let us know in the comments.
I think this movie was way better without Edgar Wright.
I think so. No, I don't think so. I think it would have been better as a standalone with Edgar Wright. But I think for the whole MCU... I think it turned out pretty well.
I agree.
So we agree, but we disagree.
The director, Peyton Reed, I believe directed that Yes Man, Jim Carrey.
Which, I love it.
I love Yes Man. So when he got announced, again, it's one of those, okay, a guy with like no action experience, and you're going to just hand this to him. All right, whatever. But I was like, okay, at least you got someone with a movie I like,
Oh, the director?
Right.
Yeah, Yes Man was amazing.
And Darren Cross also fell to the Marvel villain problem of, and this one was one where, he's got something that I want to do. I'm going to take it and make it better. Ironmonger, right? Like rehashing the villain storyline. Jeff Bridges. First Iron Man.
Oh, but there was Yellow Jacket in this one, right?
Yes.
Which is an actual suit that
Hank Pym wears in the comics. Mm-hmm. He was Ant-Man, Yellow Jacket, Giant Man.
It does seem like actually most of our villains in this
They all
universe
have similar.
They're all like Iron Man suits, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, even Ant-Man can be considered
some kind of
almost
exosuit.
Yeah, some kind of suit that you wear that allows you to do things that you couldn't normally do. Right. Lots of the villains have that. Lots of the heroes have that. I mean, you also got
a good guy makes this idea. Bad guy wants the idea to use it for war or to weaponize it. Takes this idea, makes the weapon. Good guy kicks his ass because his weapon was way better, and he knew something the other guy didn't.
Seems like Marvel doesn't like government intervention. Seems like Marvel's trying to tell us something about the government. And we need to listen, sinners. We're starting an army.
Rise up. There'll be anarchy.
Yeah, so it's we either get some kind of suit, some kind of Iron Man suit, some kind of any kind of suit, or you get a super soldier or an alien. That's the only kind of bad guys we've gotten so far.
Well, hopefully with Infinity Wars, and I don't know that Thanos is going to be just the main villain, or there's going to be some sub bosses. Either way, we're hoping for something different.
I can't picture Thanos getting off that chair.
Yeah, like I'm picturing like a big dude like the Hulk, but I'm like two CGI guys going at it or something,
I think have his legs like atrophied. Do they still work? Does he ever get out of that chair?
Maybe he's just like Xavier, just floats around like it's all arms. So he's like, yeah, come back here.
Where does he go to the bathroom?
Does he go to the bathroom?
Ooh.
Does he eat?
Yeah. I picture him eating like children.
Right, devouring souls.
Yeah.
Like a ginger.
Something like just absorbing innocence.
Right. So you didn't like the love interest, Hope Van Dyne?
No, not really.
I
Definitely not as good as Agent Carter. Definitely not as good as
Agent Carter and Pepper Potts
Pepper
take
Potts.
the cake. Jane from Thor does okay. I like Natalie Portman. I think it's just the Thor franchise. I just have trouble with.
Well, she didn't even want to do Thor 2.
Right.
It was just on her contract,
She's
so she
not
had
in
to.
Thor 3, so
Good riddance.
sadly for her.
And then definitely the worst, Liv Tyler. I don't think she's that pretty, and maybe that's like...
She's pretty at times. I just don't think she's a Betty Brant. And I don't think Betty Brant should be anyone all that special. I just didn't like Liv Tyler as that.
Yeah, I definitely like Black Widow better as the love interest.
Right. Like Pepper Potts to me, that's an important one to cast. Betty Brant just didn't seem super important in the movie. I don't know.
What do we haven't talked about yet? Captain America, Winter Soldier?
Love it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Right.
Definitely towards the top of my list.
This is arguably one of the best standalone movies in the Marvel Universe, and the Russo brothers just nailed it.
Knocked it out of the park.
The action was awesome. I like Batroc the Leaper, George St. Pierre.
I like the storyline with
Nick Fury?
Nick Fury,
Yeah.
quote unquote, dying, and then coming back from the dead.
And the dying and coming back scene.
Yeah, it was really good.
Another fake death exposed.
The elevator scene was great.
I like the inclusion of Arnim Zola, that computer guy.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
2,000
Hard drives, some kind of
to make the super brain. That was cool.
the Wizard of Oz style,
Right, yes, just seeing his face. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a really cool addition.
Lots of artificial intelligence too in this universe.
Yeah. I thought it was funny when Nick Fury's talking about the new arc reactor, the repulsors, and he's like, Iron Man got a up close look at our turbines.
Yeah.
Talking about Avengers, I just thought that was another cool way Marvel shows interconnectivity.
That's if there's one thing that they do well, it's interconnectivity.
Right. Did you like the Winter Soldier as a villain, Bucky Barnes?
Yeah, he was fine. I don't know why he's called the Winter Soldier.
You don't really get the winter part.
Like, he's got metal arms, so somehow metal winter. That
I think you should just
scene in the Christmas Story where the kid gets his tongue stuck to the. Look, don't question it. He's the Winter Soldier. He's got metal arms. It's cool.
the metal arm soldier, or the
Yeah.
left metal arm soldier
Or Jax from Mortal Kombat.
with the half jacks.
Half Jax.
Half jacks. From
Hashtag half Jax.
I thought he was cool. I liked seeing Captain America go toe to toe with someone that could
Handle him.
maybe beat him. Definitely handle him. Definitely give him a run for the money.
I'm not going to fight you, buddy.
The climax
We
was awesome.
used to be buddies like 70 years ago.
We're like 95 now. I liked that. I totally spaced out on what I was going to say. Justin, just edit this out.
Leave it in.
Damn it. Oh. Okay, we're back on track.
Yeah.
The storyline of S.H.I.E.L.D. turning out to be Hydra.
That was awesome.
I thought it was super awesome. I
love
thought it was maybe
Hydra.
executed too early. Not in just a film, I mean like
In the universe.
In the universe. Like, they should have given us a few more S.H.I.E.L.D. adventures, S.H.I.E.L.D. whatever. I guess they've had a decent lead up to it.
But they have a whole TV show for S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Did that affect the TV show, do you know?
They do have repercussions in the show from what goes on in the movies, yes.
But not the other way around so much.
No. Like, the Avengers, none of the Avengers know that Agent Coulson is alive and well on Earth, doing stuff with S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever.
Well, that was kind of one of the main motivations to bring them all together.
Yeah. But
They bonded over that.
That's one of those questions you ask yourself about the MCU. Like, no one knows this. Does Fury even know he's still alive? Like,
Well, there's a lot of time we don't see. Maybe they know it, but it's just not pressing when Ultron's trying to murder everybody.
right.
Like, oh no, Ultron's coming. Hey, did you know Agent Coulson? Still okay. He's alive.
Think about all that downtime they have. Instead of fiddling around with Thor's hammer, they could have been like, dude, did you hear? I was at Walmart the other day. You know who I ran into?
You'll never guess.
Son of Cole. Swear to God. Coulson was out there.
Yeah, he was there. Cole's
he was
Cole's
shopping.
son of Cole. I like that.
Said he didn't even get hurt. Said he was fine.
Yeah.
You know what I did? I tore his cards up right in front of him.
Yeah.
Threw him at his feet.
Oh, so it was Cap that saw him?
I think he went back and forth.
Yeah.
Maybe a few of them saw them.
Yeah, they were like
Captain
they were like
Thor
they were picking up snacks for
Captain Thor picking up some protein bars.
the Avengers hangout.
They're like, no way, Coulson.
They're about to go to a movie and they go into Walmart.
Yeah.
Getting snacks to go see, Civil War. Run into Coulson.
I liked that the elevator scene,
Yeah, that was
which
definitely awesome.
at the end pays homage to the Civil War comic, where Captain America dives out the helicarrier into the ocean, and he dives out the elevator in this one. Beautiful scene. They showed it in the trailer, I think.
Does anyone want to get out before we start?
Right.
Or, I don't know.
I
Misquoted.
like that he's noticing all these things. Like the guy comes in, he's got his hand on his gun, right? And you're just kind of like, what? And the guy's like sweating, and he just kind of like casually steps into the middle, like shit's about to go down.
Yeah. Sorry for your life, guys.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
That was an amazing scene.
It's weird how they talk about how the DC universe is going to be so much darker because like Batman kills people. But
Right.
I think the Avengers have killed a lot of people. But they kill it in a way that doesn't make you feel the death on screen.
Yeah, you're like, oh no, that all those people died because the Avengers were protecting them, and it could have been a lot worse.
But then Batman kills a couple people, a couple bad guys,
Yeah.
and everyone's up in arms.
A couple guys that were gonna kill him.
He's Batman.
Yeah.
The fact that he doesn't kill people anyway is kind of strange.
Yeah. I agree. Captain America, Winter Soldier, out of 10, what would you give it?
I give it a 9. 9 out of 10. Great movie.
It's awesome, man. Me
Yeah,
too.
I love it. If you had to rank all the movies in the MCU from start to finish, I guess I'd give you my list first.
Okay.
I put Iron Man 3 at the bottom,
The very bottom.
6.5.
Rock bottom.
I'm going to go up to Thor 1, 7, slightly better, but not much. Thor 2, it's weird that I do the ratings like this, but it makes sense in my mind because
Right.
I only give it a 7.5, but I thought it was a lot better than the first Thor. And then I'm going to go up to Iron Man 2, good movie, not great. Then I go Cap 1 and the Hulk. All four of those, Thor 2, Iron Man, Cap, and Hulk, 7 points. So kind of towards
Yeah.
the bottom, but still pretty good. Then I lead into Ant-Man at an 8, Avengers 2 at a 9, Cap 2, and Iron Man also at a 9, Avengers 1, and then Guardians, 10.
I think I'm going to agree with you 110%.
You think so?
That's pretty spot on.
You want Guardians at the top?
Well, didn't you give someone else a 10?
Yeah, I gave Guardians and Avengers a 10, but
Boom.
Guardians still better.
There we go. We'll agree to disagree on that.
Okay.
Guardians is an amazing film.
Give us your list, sinners. Let us know what you think.
Tell us your favorite end credit scene. I don't think we got to talk about that.
What's your favorite movie? And why is it Guardians of the Galaxy? Let us know.
We appreciate you guys listening. Please make sure to share, rate, subscribe.
Like.
You can.
Shout out to PMBS Studios. Thanks to Justin for editing these episodes for us. We know it's not easy listening to us repeat ourselves hundreds of times, and thanks a lot. Make sure that you just tell people about us because that's really what we need to spread the word.
We need your support in order to keep doing this because we love doing this.
Tell us what you like, what you don't like, maybe some episodes you want to,
We take suggestions. We take fan mail. Just remember to don't be a dick.
support the podcast.
Cooleroni.
Could be bitch.